Simba Arati and Justus Murungi, who is the member of parliament for Mutugu, and that is Dagoretti North. Simba Arati complained of interference and plans to defeat the report. And you'll agree with me, or all of us will have the general consensus that there is total mistrust and disunity among committee members here that has been tasked to come up with a report for the sake of Kenyans, because that is the priority point here. And looking at it from that perspective, was it from the onset of the rejection by Parliament in the first instance, was it bound to fail in the sense that we have now disunity which is coming to surface among members of the same committee?
Well, it's not really that the task by the committee was bound to fail, only that you get different members of Parliament have divergent interest in regards to probing this issue. And you do realize that on the part of Kenyans, it's a once bitten, twice shy situation, because if a committee, actually a joint committee, not even a single committee, a joint committee can sit down, travel across the country, go to Mombasa, go to these various areas in the country, and come up with a report. And on the onset, the Speaker and the National Assembly at large rejects the report. It means definitely there is something. And you do realize when the committee was doing its probe, there was some discomfort among the members. You realize when Matiang'i skipped coming to the session, when he did not honor the summons by the committee, some of the members, well, the chair, Kanini Kega, somehow from his talk and his demeanor, seemingly seemed to protect Matiang'i, whereas this other person, Adan, the co-chair, in his demeanor also seemed to want Matiang'i to be there. So, of course, there has been a conflict here, and definitely where there is no unity of mind and unity of purpose, any report that is prepared is bound to fail. And that's the reason why you're saying they are now introducing amendments. See, the question is, how can you do a report which later on you might amend? You know, of course, definitely right now their mind is clouded. The amendments that are being brought in the report right now are not out of good faith, or rather they are out of compulsion, because the Speaker gave them 10 more days to do a thorough probe into the report. So right now, you can state that they are either coming out of compulsion, I mean they have to do something to prove that they found out new information, or it's just because there was disunity and that really there is nothing good that can come out of this report. And that's why Simba Arati is raising an alarm, because for him, as a committee, and as Marende has put it here, they had decided, or rather they had come up together and stated that the cabinet secretaries and any government officials who are implicated in this mess should take whole responsibility. But right now, the wordings and the semantics of the report seem different. So that's where the problem is.
Okay, Anthony, I'll come to you on this. There are various reports, and many MPs who spoke on condition of anonymity did say on 2 occasions that inclusion of a CS, a minister, whose insertion will lead to total rejection of the entire report is also likely, and that companies listed by the committee report want the report to be shot, that they avoided totaling up to billions of shillings in the country. And I mean, there's deliberate, and this is a clear battle against a parliamentary committee which is independent, which was tasked to look into affairs that matter to the taxpayer, the people who in this case are in the dark with regards to the information that they are being fed, because what we are seeing is conflicting information by different ministers we have at hand. So who do we believe in, and why all this rush to ensure that this report is rejected? Is it a case of, again, mirror, or a case of a total mirroring or reflection of the society in not wanting sobriety and good things to happen in the straight manner, to the extent of wanting to interfere in a parliamentary committee?
I think what there is, I would say, is that we must appreciate these are interesting times in Kenya. I think so much is happening that reflects of the kind of a country that probably we aspire to have in terms of these extra checks and balances. It's, I think, for the first time that a parliamentary committee is subjected through such scrutiny, even by colleagues within the parliament. And those are things that we need to encourage. Secondly, I need to put out here that the discussions revolving around this committee, I think, stand to be corrected. There are avenues that Parliament has, other than repeating the same mistake, in terms of resubmitting or requesting the committee that has actually all these allegations, including doctoring of their own report, to be allowed to still go back and do amendments. Because again, there would be a question of victimization, because someone will say, your initial finding sort of absolved me from any blame. So all of a sudden, you're coming back to say that based on the following introduced amendments and playing to public pressure in itself is a way of manifesting some lack of independence. That's why my own personal opinion is that Parliament needs to exploit other avenues, including the possibility of another independent committee. Now that our MPs appear very angry about this whole issue, if we probably subject it, especially to most of these MPs who are even shouting, because they still have the floor of Parliament. And what you say inside Parliament is protected. In fact, MPs enjoy immunity at the floor of Parliament. So this idea of us trying to reduce this into a political kind of contest, trying to chest thump and show people that I'm here, is not really working for our good. I think we need to be very sober and objective as far as discussions around this very illegal importation of sugar, and particularly mercury-infected sugar that is out here threatening the lives of our people. And the only way we can be able to attain that is if we embrace the kind of conversations that we're having that is bipartisan in its nature, such that you can have somebody at the level of a leader of majority, opting to differ with the finding of a committee that is chaired by one of his members. Ordinarily, were it not probably for the handshake, would be entertaining this kind of nonsense. So in embracing this, I think we need to build on it further and now put people to task. I think also we must entrench the culture that we've been trying to create, the culture of stepping aside. I'm still convinced that if you're adversely mentioned in such an issue, in fact, to the extent, in other countries ordinarily, Matiang'i, who we celebrate as one heroic guy, would have stepped aside. By virtue of just even allowing and coming out to the press to acknowledge that indeed there are illegal mercury-infested sugar in the, available to Kenyans, and they are consuming it. That's suicidal. Ordinarily, in very developed countries, that is where you start. And that is how you fight corruption. Because once we portray it as something that can cost you, including your own opportunity, then people tend to be a bit more vigilant. Because why all of a sudden now is when that people are becoming more proactive. I think we must really work out against this culture of reactiveness and be proactive in terms of addressing these issues. I like how the Speaker of the National Assembly, Justin Muturi, intervened on the issue and actually pronounced himself as the chair and actually put it upon the shoulders of the committee that you cannot be bringing shoddy works. And furthermore, you're bringing this in the wake of us watching you on TV, exchanging pleasantries with the people you're investigating. It must never be business as usual. And the only way for us to drive that is by ensuring that we are consistent. So even these MPs were coming out to maybe suggest that they have information within their reach that actually incriminates some cabinet people. This is not something that you hide under the table. This is something you put out in the public glare, particularly in the forum that you're given by Kenyans, which is the parliamentary floor, and let Kenyans know what your stand is on this matter.